ever so much for tuning in to our webinar today. It is National Apprenticeship Week, and here at the RNN Group, we are celebrating all things apprenticeships. And today, middle of the week, the most important day, it is celebrating our apprentices themselves. We had Skills for Life on Monday, we had employers yesterday, it is T-levels tomorrow and celebration on Friday, but today it is all about the apprentices themselves. And we have some fantastic people here who are going to talk about and have a Q&A about apprentices. We've got Simon Hartley, who is one of our top people in the apprenticeship team here at the RNN Group. And he will be quizzing our incredible apprentice, Jimmy Serhan. Thanks, Jimmy. And former apprentice, Joshua Battersby. So over to you, Simon, for a fantastic Q&A on apprentices. And thanks, guys. Really appreciate this.
Thanks very much, Lucy. So, as Lucy said, my name's Simon Hartley. I'm Employer Partnerships Manager for the group. And like I said, we're joined by Jimmy and Josh today. I've got a number of questions for Jimmy and Josh. Like I say, it's a mix of experience this afternoon. We've got Jimmy, who's currently midway through programme, and Josh, who's just finished that programme. So if it's all right, Jimmy, I'm going to start with yourself in terms of questions. So the first question I've got for yourself is, what were your biggest worries before you started your apprenticeship?
It was mainly completing the work and getting enough time to complete that off the work and the off the job needed to do it.
Do you feel like the business has given you that time? Do you feel like you're getting that support from the company?
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially if I feel like I'm behind, I can speak to a manager and she'll say, take 5 minutes at the end of the day today, close your emails and just write about your off the job that you've done this last week.
Oh, awesome. Nice to see it. And Josh, cast your mind back all that those a year ago when you were doing this program. What were your kind of worries before you started?
Similar to Jimmy, getting the off the job hours done and getting them recorded and staying on top of them really. I've been previously gone to university and knew, what the type of work demand of me, and I've just stayed on top of it really. Consistency was key for me.
Brilliant. And just to make some clarity for anyone that's logging in to watch, Jimmy is currently apprenticed with R&N Group, so he is one of our internal apprentices, and Josh worked for Rotherham Metropolitan Borough Council. So just to bear in mind the difference in businesses. But like I said, would you both agree that you had that support from a mentor perspective then, from your businesses?
Definitely.
Yeah. 100%.
Awesome. Great. Flip it round. I'll start. Next question to direct to yourself first, Josh. What's the one myth about apprenticeships you believed before you did one?
And that people dumped all of their busy work on you, so to speak. And that they weren't going to get you involved in any projects. You were kind of just an afterthought. But that's really not the case. I've been included in so many projects. Some I've still got a massive involvement in, and it's just helped me no ends.
Awesome. Really nice to hear, Josh. And yourself, Jimmy, what was the biggest myth that you heard before you started?
One of the biggest ones is the fact that I thought apprenticeships were only for people doing labour jobs, so brickwork, carpentry, jobs like that. But they've got a lot more, especially doing my role. I know that now. Yeah,
I think last time I checked, there's 800 plus apprenticeships now available in the country. Not all of which are an endo to point out, but we do our fair share. Again, a question similar to about being ready, and I'll start with you on this one, Jimmy. Did you feel ready when you started? Did you feel like you had all the information as you started?
Yeah, I mean, from that initial induction that we had, I knew how long the course would be, what I'd be doing on the course, and everything about the endpoint assessment at the end of it, so the exam.
Brilliant. And yourself, Josh?
I was given all the information beforehand. I knew what I was going into. I knew what was expected of me. And that made it a lot simpler, the whole apprenticeship process.
Perfect. Absolutely great to hear. In terms of just going back to actual jobs then, and again, I'll start with yourself, Josh. What does your typical day look like, or what did it look like?
My typical day when I was an apprentice was I did 4 days actual work related stuff, emails, your standard typical stuff. And I dedicated a day once a week solely to do my college. Anything I was struggling with on a certain week, and they was getting close to the end of the day, I'd just go, right, I'm not focusing on that now. I'll pick it up again next week. It's just all about that time management and giving yourself room to breathe.
Yeah, lovely. And to be fair, just to kind of caveat to that a little bit, and the one thing that we try and do as a group is when we're speaking to businesses, ensure that they're giving you that time. And I think one myth that a lot of people have is that you'll be doing all your work when you finish work in terms of at
Yeah.
home, and that's not the case.
No,
We're trying to
that's
keep
what,
this
yeah,
in your job, aren't we? That's the kind
yeah,
of the idea of it.
yeah.
By yourself, Jimmy, what's your typical day?
Every day is different for me, to be honest with you, Simon. But I mainly just chase attendance. My main role is to make sure that all the apprentices that are coming to college are here on time. And then anything that I do that I think could go towards my apprenticeship, I spend a couple of minutes at the end of the day and I write me off the job and I do any apprenticeship work that I can do.
Perfect. And sorry, Josh, I felt like I might cut you off then, but there's something else you wanted to say.
No, I was just going to add they were very accommodating and worked around me,
Perfect. Exactly.
my employees.
No, exactly what we'd like to hear. What's something you didn't expect about the work? Was there any surprises in this apprenticeship course for you both?
Um, no, there wasn't necessarily anything that jumped out of a surprise to me. It was just a case of getting my head down, doing what I had to do, and just taking each day as it came.
Awesome. And yourself, Jimmy, anything that's come out of the work that's surprised you?
I mean, nothing's really popped out of me on my apprenticeship that surprised me because, and then it goes back to being ready. I already knew what I was going to be taught. It's just the depth of it was like, oh, that's interesting type of thing.
No, awesome. And again, I think that's one thing with apprenticeships. Things that you may think is quite simple, they explore quite in depth, and that sometimes catches people out, especially things like communication. When we all use that as a throwaway term, actually, when you look into the depth of it, and see Josh nodding his head, there's quite a lot of work that goes into that. Kind of similar question, or slightly different, or myth busting question. A lot of people obviously think they get confused between how much time people are learning at work, how much time people are learning, obviously, in college time. I'll start with yourself, Jimmy. Can you kind of explain to me how much learning happens on the job versus the classroom, or what you feel like you're learning at work as opposed to what you're learning in the sessions?
At work, you learn how to do your job per se, so you'll get taught the main parts of your job. All your I don't say all your apprenticeship does, but the apprenticeship just solidifies that knowledge and puts theory behind practice. So they'll say, oh, yeah, you're talking over the phone, but what does that mean? Type of thing.
No, perfect. Great answer. But yourself, Josh, what did you find? Did you learn more work, college, or a mixture of the two?
A mixture of the two, really. I was just going to say I agree with Jimmy completely. I couldn't have put it better myself.
No, that's awesome. And again, I think one thing when it comes to that training arm of it and the classroom basis, you're right. We can't teach everything as a college, and we understand that. You're going to learn the job from the business. That is how apprenticeships are meant to be. That's how they're meant to work. It's gaining real life experience and coupling it with some education, with some theoretical backing. So well said, Jimmy. Very well said. Nice question. Hopefully for the both of you. Start with you, Josh. What's the favourite bit of your job?
Um, Honestly, just networking, meeting new people who I say you meet someone and they say the job title, and I'll find myself going, oh, I had no idea that existed. Just learning about different job roles and gain an insight into what the council actually does.
Awesome. And apart from obviously working with myself and Lucy, Jimmy, what's your favourite part of the job?
Oh, you've took it away from me. But no, it's learning about everything that happens. I don't know how to say it, but when I'll go to one area, I'll learn about what the metal fabricators are doing, and I'll know about that, and then I'll go to plumbing. I know what the plumbers are doing. And it's very interesting to me to know what everyone's doing.
Yeah, I must admit, it's an interesting part of kind of our world of supporting apprenticeships. We get to see lots of different industries and kind of understand what they're doing, what they're going through, which again kind of helps me from an advisor's perspective because they can explain to other businesses what's happening in similar competitors and similar businesses as well. So really, really helpful knowledge that we get just by opening his eyes and listening to businesses and people, really.
Yeah.
Bit of a curveball question, but I'll start with you, Jimmy. So far, what skills have you developed that you didn't expect? So you'd obviously expect certain skills within the programs that you've been doing. Is there anything that you didn't expect that you've learned from it so far?
I did a lesson about finance yesterday. I weren't expected to learn about that because I don't do that in my job role. But because obviously the criteria is that I need to know about how companies do their finance, I learned about that and I thought it was really interesting.
Awesome. So again, just something a little ad hoc that you wouldn't have expected. Or anything, again, casting your mind back, Josh, appreciate it. It's been a while, but is there anything in there that you surprised yourself?
Yeah, I didn't realise just how much I'd learn about something we have called Street Gazetteer, which is literally, it holds all of the information we have on the highway network, and so much so it gets published at national level. And now I'm a system administrator for that. So, yeah.
So again, something you never expected.
Yeah, didn't know. Again, it's one of them things I had no idea it existed.
Really good to hear. And from the next question, really, I kind of know the answer for you, Josh, but I'm going to ask you this anyway. But just on a personal note, the difference I've seen in you from that October 23 when you started to now in confidence, I can tell. But the question that I'll ask you is, have you noticed a change in your confidence since you've done that apprenticeship?
Definitely, 100%. I cannot advocate personally for apprenticeships enough. It basically kick-started my life.
Oh, really nice to hear, Josh. And how about you? Again, I'm going to say the same again, Jimmy. I've seen in the short space of time you've been with us a change in your confidence. But what would you say? Never mind what I say.
Definitely, I definitely think apprenticeships have increased my confidence. I've been able to deal with lots of different things that I never expected. Like, I've had a lot of challenging situations that I've been able to go through with this apprenticeship, and I've been able to come out the other side of it.
That's awesome. And again, just something I'd like to kind of caveat to anyone that is watching. I must have overseen well over 1,000 apprenticeships in my time. And the one thing that every person tells me is the confidence. I've never had anyone tell me it hasn't improved the confidence. So just putting that out there for the world that may be watching, this is one thing that I can promise you it will help and it will develop. Is this something that you can do now, guys, that you couldn't do when you started your apprenticeship? Is there anything that you feel like you can do now that before you couldn't do?
Before I'd be hesitant to pick up the phone to someone. I had no clue who they were, but now I'll just happily pick up a phone or ring someone, email even. It was about gaining that confidence for me of talking to someone who I'd never met before.
No, and about yourself, Jimmy.
I can take minutes. I don't even know what minutes were when I started this role, but now I can do them in about a day.
That's good going. And I think just a caveat, but what you said there, Josh. I think younger generation wise, I think there's a big thing of people being a bit scared of landline phones. I think it's a fair comment. I think we're quite used to mobile phones. but landline phones are a bit alien, especially to the young generation. So I think anything that can help the confidence with that is a huge benefit, not just to them, but to businesses that they're working with. Business still relies heavily on landline phone. So I think as a general population, as the UK, we need to be kind of mindful of that, and for young people not to be scared of them. It's just a telephone. Okay, there's no one scary at the other end of it. But you need to speak to people, good and bad, and that's all part of customer service skills. And whatever job people are moving into, customer service skills are a massive part of that. So just mindful of that. Changing the question a little bit, and I'm kind of moving the spotlight from yourselves and trying to shine it on mentors a little bit at the moment and supervisors. So we do a lot where it comes to we're trying to advise mentors. We do a lot of mentor training. Starting with yourself, Jimmy, from a mentor perspective, is anyone particular that's been mentoring you? Has that had an impact on your learning?
Not necessarily had a mentor, but every manager that I've had, if I have any issues, I can go to them and they'll help me straight away. I just ask a question and they'll answer it for me.
That's awesome. And about yourself, Josh, did you have somebody there particularly that was helping you with the mentoring?
Yeah, again, similar to Jimmy, my manager, she was very accommodating, helped me no ends, and yeah, she was just great throughout the whole process. And separate to her, I've also had other people that have come in to help me, who aren't in management, just work with me on a day-to-day basis. So I've got that network of support around me.
That's awesome. And again, manager, mentor is kind of different terminology, but would you both agree that person in there has helped you grow and helped you develop?
Yeah,
definitely.
Awesome. Really nice to hear. And I suppose I'm not trying to coin the general apprenticeship phrase here, but has learning while earning helped your lifestyles?
Yes, it gave me. I would have been motivated regardless, but it gave me that extra motivation to want to do well. I had the mindset of I'm being paid to do this. I need to show I'm capable of doing it, that sort of thing.
Okay, awesome. And what about yourself, Jimmy? How's that impacted your life?
Yeah, I totally agree, to be honest, and especially with that raise that you get after being on the course for about a year and then completing the course. That definitely is a good motivation for a lot of apprentices, I found as well.
Well, again, it's due to rise again in April. Not to show my age, but when I started this role, it was £1.93 per hour. Currently sat February 26th at 7.55, and it's going to go up to £8 an hour, we believe, in April. So again, never has there been a better time or a more well-paid time to be an apprentice. And again, something I regularly say to the younger generation of apprentices is it's potentially the most money you will ever have in your pocket. Because the older you get, the more responsibilities you get, and the more that goes out. So as much as your wage increases, so does your outgoings. So if you're in that fortunate bubble of younger age, living at home, it's a really good thing to get into. And again, quite a lot of disposable income that you'll potentially be earning. So kind of moving a bit forward and away from the apprenticeship. So probably, again, a good question for you, Josh. What, in terms of now your apprenticeship's done, what options has it opened up for you? What opportunities do you see for yourself that apprenticeship's created?
It's opened up countless opportunities for me because now I've been here for 2.5 years. People know me and they're willing to, give me opportunities. So say I currently work in highways and say if a job in drainage came up tomorrow, the manager wouldn't hesitate to bring me on board. So it's just getting to network. I keep mentioning it, but I find it's the most useful tool in a workplace you can have.
No,
just knowing people.
Absolutely, completely agree, Josh. And I think one thing that I tend to say to a lot of the younger people or anybody really is the apprenticeship is your way to get your foot into that door. Once you're in that door, it's up to you where you go with it. So, don't necessarily worry about the courses, worry about the employers, worry about where that business can take you. The course is, to some respect, irrelevant in that respect because it's just getting you into the business. Once you're in there, there's more development opportunities. There's more opportunities for you to move up, down, sideways, however you want to go within that company. A lot of apprentices that I'm working with now are managing directors, they are sales managers. Some are happily just doing the job that they've always wanted to do. It really depends on what that person wants out of this, but ultimately it's about getting your foot in that door. Sorry, Jimmy, for waffling that bit. And for yourself,
That's all
what
right.
do you see opportunity-wise once that apprenticeship finishes?
I mean, I'm very lucky with where I'm working at the moment because I've got people like you I can talk to afterwards, alongside my manager. So hopefully, looking at another apprenticeship, maybe increasing my skills further on a level 4 or level 5.
No, that sounds well exactly what we're hoping to do, Jimmy, to be fair. But that's the idea is keep progressing. You will never finish learning. That's the one thing that is worth saying to everybody here. You'll never finish learning, no matter how old you are and what program you do.
Mm-hmm.
The apprenticeship is the modern method to fund a lot of CPD development. So ultimately, what I suppose I'm getting at is a lot of companies will be using these more frequently. As time progresses over the next few years, you will start to see more of these, especially in things like management structures. Probably final question from me, and then hopefully might have a couple off the bat from this. Do you feel more prepared for the workforce because of the apprenticeship that you've done or doing?
Definitely. I wouldn't be hesitant now whatsoever to go for another job in another company, whereas before just starting out, say maybe within my first 6 months of the apprenticeship, there would be that hesitancy in me. Like again going back to confidence, I'm really confident in my ability now, and that's due to the apprenticeship.
Thanks, Josh. And how about for yourself, Jimmy?
I mean, I'm going to go back to what you said about how this apprenticeship has got my foot in the door, and I'm learning those transferable skills that I can use in more than one company. And it's just like you said again, getting my foot in the door to then take me further.
Brilliant. Is anything, if I had to say to you guys, if you could say anything to anybody that would convince them to undertake an apprenticeship, what would you say? Go on, Jimmy. I'll let you go first.
If you're lucky enough to get an apprenticeship, you've got a job for the time period of the apprenticeship. You're getting paid whilst you're on that, and you're getting something out of it that's educational. So it might be something like a GCSE or an A-level equivalent, which can show, you've done some learning. You can take that to another company once you've completed, and it just shows you've got that foot in your door and you've got those skills to go forward.
Awesome. Thanks, Jimmy. And about yourself, Josh?
Yeah, I would say the same as Jimmy again, but I would also caveat that by saying anyone who does go into an apprenticeship, don't feel like you have to stay in that apprenticeship. There's always opportunities that are um, provided up to yourselves, whether that be moving internally or moving externally. You don't have to stay in the same place. I know we're very accommodating here because one of our apprentices has actually started out where I was doing an administration type role. He went to his manager. I'm not that struck on this. Can I do something more site related? And now he's working with the scheme designers, working on roadworks and all that good stuff.
No, and it's a really good point, because I think what we kind of forget about is transferable skills. So if we've got any young people or parents watching this, is think about what you like to do and how that can be transferable. So I use a really poor analogy of people that are into gaming could work in the call center. They can use the hands, they can use a headset, they can talk at the same time. I'm not saying that's the ultimate career aspiration for anybody. What I'm saying is there's a transferable skill in that. So think about what you like to do, how that can transfer into the world of work. It's never the same, but there's transferable, and that's a good way of judging what industry you want to move into. Really appreciate your time, gentlemen. Is there anything yourself, Lucy, you want to ask, or we happy?
No, I'm not. No, I think it's brilliant. I think you guys have been really helpful and answered some really good questions for our learners out there, and also for employers and parents and carers who are sort of undecided about this, because don't forget, we do have parents and carers that don't know much about apprentices, and it's really nice to hear from the people on the sort of the cold end of it to talk about how they experienced it. So huge thanks to you both, Josh and Jimmy. Really appreciate your time, and Simon for the question and answer. Just one more thing before we leave, to say that there's our final webinar tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Again, our lunchtime webinar series this week, celebrating National Apprenticeship Week. That will be on T-levels. Tomorrow is T-level Thursday. So we will be having members of staff who really know about T-levels talking and myth busting about T-levels across the nation and what we do here at the RNN Group. So all it remains for me is to say thanks to everyone watching this and those who will watch after. Thank you to Simon, Jimmy and Josh. Really appreciate your time, and have a fantastic day. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
See you in a bit, Simon.
Thank you, guys.